Simon from What Culture here, and man, Raw. That was I don't know, we'll go with interesting show. I mean, the club, Sheamus and Cesaro, the lack of familiar faces. Interesting does mean there's a lot to talk about though. And that's exactly what I'm gonna do, because we're gonna up the ups and we're gonna down the downs on Raw, because I'm basically the principal of Raw and I'm gonna grade it depending on its performance, which isn't weird at all. But based on the article by Scott Carlson that you can read on whatculture.com right now, it is this week's ups and it is this week's downs. So let's up the ups and down the downs, and then realise we've said the words up and down well too much. Right, I want to start with Sheamus and Cesaro right off the bat, because I don't know what to think about it. Is it an up? Is it a down? Is it the first ever middle? I just don't know. Here's the thing. Mick Foley saying that because the two tied their best of 7 series, they should become a team and go after the tag team titles, well, that's quite unique. I saw a few fan theories of people saying that's what should happen, but that actually happening is completely different to it not happening. Wait, that was really complicated. What I mean to say is that it's different to have a fan theory and then to see it on TV, because seeing it on TV makes it real, and it's on TV, so now it's real. It's much more original than just, oh, Sheamus wins, so he goes after the US title. And because the two hate each other, you've got an interesting dynamic there. But it also means we did just see two men go at it for 7 matches, just so they could team up together. Do we need all that build? Or could we not got here a different way? I have a feeling this may actually start to become quite entertaining, so we're gonna go with an up. But it's strange. It's definitely strange. On the subject of the tag team titles, a definite down is what's happening with Gallows and Anderson. After a pretty good showing at Clash of Champions, the club was jobbed out and jobbed out hard to the New Day on Raw. Now, I imagine this was done so that Sheamus and Cesaro can take their place and the club can go and do whatever, but it is starting to feel like those two have not been used in the best way. They are a really, really good team, and they don't have to win every match. They don't have to be tag team champions, but they should be treated better than this. Sami Zayn lost at Clash of Champions and that was fine. Jericho is the GOAT and he's stolen my heart. So he can do whatever he wants. But Sami Zayn was not on Raw and that's a down. The whole point of the brand split was to ensure that new faces had time to shine and then get over. And here we are, and Sami Zayn keeps losing and he can't even get on the show he was drafted to. You may as well just throw him off a bridge. Now, no one throwed Sami off a bridge unless it's part of some cool storyline. But it's a bit disappointing that he's got nothing going on, especially when he could be on SmackDown, and SmackDown need people like Sami Zayn. I get that every wrestler is going to have, wait for it, ups and downs. That's pretty good. But Zayn really should be being used better than this. I mean, he's got a hat, for goodness sake. A hat! Rusev didn't get an entrance on Raw. He just stood in the ring like some chump. No! I know it doesn't matter, and I know openings like that are actually pretty good because it makes the live crowd feel special and the show starts off with a bang, but it makes me really sad. Really sad. Rusev is the greatest entity on the planet, so he should just have his entrance music played all of the time, even when it's nothing to do with him. You've got two guys in the ring, and all of a sudden, dun 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 dun. It doesn't even come out. It's just playing because you've got to always remember that Rusev is great. Bottom line, I just really like Rusev, so that's a down. What is not a down though is Roman Reigns. He's an up. Yeah, I said it. It had to be said. And I said it. I know we all hate him and we should boo him incessantly, and you do whatever it is that you want to do. But right now, he's in the correct place, fighting for an upper mid-card title against somebody who's excellent. Roman and Rusev had another good brawl on Raw, and while that ended in a double countout, it's not the end of the world. It just means this feud is going to continue, and the pairing work great together. So that's fine. WWE at this point should just turn Reigns heel, but if they're not going to do that, I definitely prefer this version of him. And I tell you what else, he always has more crowd support at the end of his segments. So think about that. Or don't. Think about whatever you want, it's your brain. I mean, why listen to me? I don't like the Mick Foley, Stephanie McMahon stuff. It's not bad, but it's just meh. Foley came off like a punished child after confronting Stephanie McMahon about her actions at Clash of Champions, and Stephanie didn't even have to do much to convince him. She just went, "Nah, mate, you're wrong," and Foley went, "Oh, yeah, sorry, I am wrong." It does nothing for Foley as a strong leader of the show, and unless something really out of left field happens, we know what's going to go down. Stephanie will rejoin her husband, go heel, and the authority will be back again. Unless it turns out that Triple H and Mick Foley were actually in cahoots the whole time. That would be a good ruse. And I like a good ruse. That's not going to happen. So down. Bayley beat someone in a kind of jobber match, but kind of not jobber match. Works for me. Up. The best thing about Bayley is that she's so damn likable. And given that she's lost a lot recently, it was nice to give her some time to show what she can do and come away with a win. Nothing special, just solid stuff. It is starting to seem a little bit like WWE don't see her as a top performer in the women's division, but it's early days, so we'll see what happens. And she's entertaining, and that's all I ever ask for. Well, that and Rusev to have an entrance. The Cruiserweights had 2 segments on Raw. That's an up. Is there still a lot that needs to be done with the division? Absolutely, but we're only 2 weeks in, and I'm not going to start crapping all over it, because if I did that, I'd be crapping all over everything, and sometimes crapping is a lot of hard work. The tag match was a good way to introduce more faces to it, and TJ Perkins getting another win is a great way to legitimize him as the champion. Yes, WWE needs to keep refining and tweaking this until it finds a formula that works, but right now, let's give him the benefit of the doubt. Seth Rollins feels a little bit lost at the moment, so this week, he's going to have to get a down. It's not a bad down though, it's just obvious this is all building to a feud with Triple H, and I like that. But until we get to that point, Rollins is kind of in limbo. And nobody likes limbo. Well, unless you're talking about video game limbo, a lot of people like that. Him getting injured at Clash of Champions doesn't help, but it does feel like his super huge big babyface push isn't going to come until the game is back on TV. And who knows when that's going to be. Christmas or something. It'll be a Christmas present. Triple H is back. He'll come out of the box. You'll be like, sweet, Triple H. I love that highlight reel. And I love Chris Jericho putting people on the list of Jericho mid-promo. And I love Kevin Owens. Yeah, I know. I say the same thing each and every week. But it's true. So what can I do? The two are so entertaining though. They give me that warm, fuzzy feeling in my stomach where I go, you know what? Everything's gonna be okay. Life ain't so bad. And that's what I watch pro wrestling for, to escape and forget about all my problems. Kevin Owens, Chris Jericho, I salute you. And yes, another up was Chris Jericho and Kevin Owens beating Enzo and Cass in the main event. Now I know that makes you mad. Just take a breath, sit down, let me tell you why. It seems very obvious now that WWE is building towards a feud between Chris Jericho and Kevin Owens, and that's an angle I want to see. But to do that, you got to make sure the buddies are stronger than ever before one of them turns, and to do that, you got to make sure they're winning matches and looking strong. It's more impactful that way, and by beating people as over as Enzo and Cass, you can't see any of the cracks yet, and right now, it's too early to see the cracks. No cracks. It's only fair to say that a lot like Sami Zayn, Enzo and Cass do feel a little lost in the shuffle at the moment, and that's not good. But at least here, the ends justify the means. Let's see what happens with the two BFFs, but yeah, up. While you can certainly take a lot of good away from Raw if you look at it segment to segment, as an overall show, yeah, it wasn't great, and it did feel a bit like filler. It did set up Sasha Banks versus Charlotte for the title next week, and that should be pretty good, even if we are starting to see that match a lot. But the absence of a lot of familiar faces was really weird. But still, it is what it is. Make sure you leave a comment below to let us know what you thought about Raw, and then don't forget to like, share, subscribe, and come follow me on Twitter at SimonMiller316. Now, to address a few comments I got this week, this is my real voice. A lot of people said, Simon, use your real voice. This is my real voice. I talk, this does whatever it does, and this voice comes out. I could try changing my voice, but that would be really weird. But maybe next week I'll change my voice.